Lori, late night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Craftin. Take 3. All right, I was actually coming on before midnight, believe it or not. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and as is par for the course for this week, we're going to pretend it's still Friday, December 5th at 11:58, let's say, instead of it being just after midnight. I did try to come on earlier. Let me get my devices going here so I can see when people join me live. All right, we got one device up. I just had a feeling YouTube was gonna make it challenging today. So, welcome. If you are new to my channel, welcome, welcome. Let me know where you're joining from. And if you're not new to the channel, welcome, just the same. I'm going to do a couple of our quickie announcements. I know some people will be filtering in and they like to miss the announcements. Of course, if you like my video, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, whatever it is. Linda. Just so happens you're on your iPad. Well, welcome. YouTube was giving me trouble today trying to get on. So you're here just in time for my announcements. I'll try to make it quick. So, new store name. So instead of LoriMacari.stampinup.net, we're just going to go with latenightLori.stampinup.net. We will see how long you last. Hopefully it won't go super late because I have places to be tomorrow and I have to get up early. So, big news, latenightLori.stampinup.net. It's easier to spell than Lori Macari, right? All right, next one, Brushed with Beauty. This class has already happened, but it's on demand, so you can watch it anytime. These are order numbers for both the online class and the suite. And you can get that through my online store. Unless you're a demonstrator, then you can get it on your own online store and get it on sale. Excuse me. This previous one, the October virtual class, Traditions of Christmas, is on the last chance list. If it's still on there, they are phasing it out because it is based on a seasonal suite. So since that is on the last chance list, the class is also. We have new kits. This is a journaling or memory keeping kit. I think it's about like 5 by 7 inches. Really cute. I forgot to order it the other day when I was trying to get my product of the month. So it's in my shopping cart now. And here's another kit. This reminds me of a kit we had earlier this year, like maybe in the summer. But these both released in December. So those are available. Should be available. Cyber Monday just goes for a couple more days. This is our sale on prepaid Paper Pumpkin subscriptions. If you're already a subscriber and if you don't want multiple kits, make sure that you suspend your December kit, because when you buy the prepaid, you automatically get December. If you've got questions on any of this, reach out. Product of the month. I have mine on order. This paper is gorgeous. So product of the month is a new program that Stampin' Up! Is doing. We will not be having Celebration in January and February. Product of the month is going to be a surprise product each month. December happens to be Designer Series paper. It might be a stamp set. It might be some embellishments. We don't know. I don't know. You need to make sure that you have a Stampin' Up! Account. If you don't, if you just shop as a guest, you will not, it won't recognize you for the product of the month. So make sure that you set up an account with a demonstrator or yourself if you're the demonstrator. And then you need to have a qualifying purchase of $75 before tax and shipping. And then you'll have the option. You'll see like a progress bar across your screen that shows you how close you're getting to the $75, which is kind of cool. I think they're testing that out this month. Hi, Tanya. Welcome. I'm not sure if that's going to be available every month. I think it kind of depends on how the programming goes. All right. But one other thing is make sure that you're opted in for Stampin' Rewards. So if you're not getting Stampin' Rewards, you need to be, because that gives you money back every purchase. So you get 10% back to use on a future purchase. All right. And you can build that up. You can save it for up to a year, up to 12 months after you've earned them. And they're good through the last day of the month in which they would expire. So product of the month is pretty cool. A couple of nights ago, I used this layout with some paper that I already had because I didn't have my product of the month yet. And then Stampin' Up! Did a virtual album retreat earlier this year. They are now going to do a virtual card retreat. These are going to be more avid cards, if you will. Not necessarily just SIP cards or stamp, ink, and paper. These are going to be more advanced cards. There's going to be 15 of them demonstrated over the course of 2 days for 7 hours, basically. It's from 2 to 9 p.m. Mountain Time. I am hoping I can host studio time for this for people who have purchased the retreat. All right. The order number for this is 170023. You can go ahead and get that from my store, unless you're a demonstrator, then buy from yourself. My store is latenightlaura.stampinup.net. New name. And last announcement, mini catalog goes live in about a month. There is some fun stuff in here. I cannot show you the inside of the catalog because that breaks Stampin' Up! Rules. I can only show you the cover. But as I get products and I make samples, I can show you what I have. Hello, Bonnie. Welcome. All right. So let's get down to business. Last night when we were playing around with the Brushed with Beauty paper, designer series paper, basically, and I used the Hobby Haven sentiment, I think, for here. We were looking at some of the banners and shapes, but this is the card we made. And at the end, there were a couple of votes to do another card in Cajun Craze. So that's what we're going to do. You looked at the catalog online, Bonnie? I know, right? Oh, I'm glad you got that paper. They were not sure how quickly it's going to move. They tried to estimate supply to match what they believe the demand might be, but as a brand new program, you know, how do you do that? How do you forecast? It is gorgeous. So we are tonight going to use this Hobby Haven Designer Series paper. We will have to figure out together what design we want to use. The goal is to just use one. All right. These are, oh, hi, Vicki. Welcome back. And I missed your comment last night that you were still helping your son out. So I hope things are going well with that. Waiting for parts load to drive for your son. It's nice that you can help him out. So welcome. I'm glad you have a few minutes that you can pop in with us. We've missed you. Okay. So, hey, Juju. All right, so I've got Cajun Craze, and we need a piece that's 12 inches across. Now, I mentioned last night we're going to do another fun fold, and if you peek over here, you can kind of see what it might resemble. That's just my little mock-up one, because I did kind of play with this a little bit. And for the record, I was on here before midnight, but YouTube wouldn't let me successfully connect. It went all sideways and huge and stuff, so I had to start over. Oh, he's having hip surgery for December 30th. Wow. Well, hopefully he's going to feel relief after he has that surgery. So obviously you're out there helping because he is probably in a lot of pain. All right. So, yes, we do hope everything goes well. Hello, Susan. Well, you've come to the right place if you want to chill out. You just spent the last hour, oh no, rescuing your cat. I hope you were successful. Bonnie, I was trying to get on here earlier and I would have filled up that time, so sorry. Well, Vicky, I'm sure that time will go quickly and you will be home before you know it, probably. Obviously not before the holidays, but hopefully everything will go smoothly for him and he will be well on the road to recovery. So, Cajun Craze was the vote for last night, so that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to start by cutting this down right away. This is a two-tone cardstock because we need a piece that's 12 inches. And our cardstock, the normal cardstock, is just 11 inches, so it would be too short. All right, so I'm going to trim this right now at 5.5. So it's the height of a normal card. And then you can see where one side is lighter, so this is the two-tone cardstock. All right, and I'm just gonna set that aside. And then I'm gonna get my blade out of the way so I don't make a mistake. We are going to score this at 4 inches and 8 inches. So I'm gonna kind of cheat and I'm just gonna put it at 4 inches. Oh, you worked on your new journal, Bonnie, cool. And then I'm just gonna flip it 180 degrees and I'm gonna score it at 4 inches again. All right, so we're gonna make a Z fold, basically. So fold one to the right and one to the left. All right, so that's basically what we're gonna do here. All right, so this is gonna be our card base. Oh my goodness, so the cat was stuck between a fence and a water tank? For 2 days, poor thing. It's warm by you though, right, Susan? Because you're in Australia, aren't you? Yes, you're Melbourne. Because I asked you how to pronounce it correctly. Well, luckily she's not by me because we've been down in single digits already. It was like 7 degrees. 7, 9 degrees the last couple of days. All right. So here is our next little piece. So we've got our 12 inches by 5.5 scored at 4 and 8 or 4 and 4. Hey, the fence can be fixed. Losing a cat would be very sad. Well, my thought was at least it was warm so that it's not like she would get frostbite or freeze to death. Like here, that's what would happen. All right. So what I want to do now is I'm going to just slide this piece over to my outside where I've got this ruler on here. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I have a little strip of white paper under my ruler because it makes it easier for me to see. Yeah, who needs a fence anyway? We have trees and ground growth. We don't need fences. All right, so what I'm going to do is take a pencil and we're going to mark this at 3 inches. All right, so I'm going to take off 3 inches there. We should have 2.5 left here. And what we need to do then is take this piece and we are going to go down to, and hopefully, let me move this up a little bit here. Chat that frustration out, Susan. That's right. So we're going to put that 3-inch mark right in the track. And then we're going to put our 4-inch, 8-inch. We're going to put that second fold into the track also. And what we're doing is we're cutting an angle on the front of our card. All right. So I'm just going to line these up. And I'm going to put this down and hold it carefully. And I'm just going to adjust it just a little bit because I can see my pencil line through my track. You can't see it from there, but I can see it. And then my fold is right there in the track. And we're going to just slice that right off. I do not need this, but you could always save it and turn it into a Cajun Craze Christmas tree half or something. and that might turn into something. So this is basically our card. All right, so this is our card base. And this will fit into our normal envelope. It's a little narrower. Normally our cards here in the United States are 4 1/4, right? So we've got a little bit more wiggle room in there, but that's okay. All right. Have some wine and cut up paper. We give you permission. All right, so this is our card base. So let's move on to our designer series paper. Now, we're going to use both sides because obviously we're going to put some here and we're going to put the flip side on here and then, yeah, the wine and cutting. But go slow on the wine so you don't mess up all your cuts, right? So you can see here, this was my little mock-up. And this is from some Magnolia paper from a few years back. It was one of my favorites, so I still have this in my stash. It's great for making my little templates. Hi, Bon Bon. So this was the front and back of the designer series paper. All right, and I kind of like that. All right, so we will need an extra piece for inside, and then I've got a white piece, but we'll get to that in a couple minutes. All right. You're not driving anywhere, right, Susan? Just drink water in between. You know, every few ounces of alcohol, drink a few ounces of water. That way you won't have a hangover. Yeah, now I had, this is not a new fun fold. This is one I have seen time and again. Our demonstrator council folks the other day when they were sharing some ideas with the product of the month paper, they brought this back to the forefront again. And basically what they did now is they cut several pieces that were 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. They cut 3 of them or 4 because I'll want to put one in here. But they did 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. They cut 3 of them, and then they kind of traced the angles. I'm going to show you a different way that I tried tonight before I went live, and I thought for me, this is just easier because what they're doing, you know, you're either measuring, you're going down like 1 3/8, or what I think this is 1 3/8 or something. I don't know. But I discovered a different way that just seemed to make more sense to my head. So let's just set this over and decide what cardstock or what designer series paper we're going to use. So we have the books. There's glasses, plants, a bookmark, some coffee, the lamp, and then the back side is the speckles. Okay, so that would look good together because it's all color coordinated. This one is all sewing, knitting, crocheting. There's some paint brushes on here. Knitting needles, pencils, crochet hook, embroidery floss. So this is more of a fabric yarn crafter. And there's the back side of that one. Or we have the baker and espresso maker. So we've got a scale and a cookie scoop, a bundt pan, measuring cups, colander. All right, and then here is the back side to that one. So 1 baker, 2 sewer, or 3 reader. I used some of this when I did, I think I did scrapbooking pages for my granddaughter within the last week or two. I think that's why I only have 1 sheet of this and a partial. So we would have enough to do this. All right, so 1 would be the baker. We got 1 for reader, 2 for readers. So Bonnie says the books are the specs. Speckles, like, oh, spectacles. Yeah, because that's going to be on the back. Another reader. the sew or the baker another reader. So I think we're gonna go with this one. And I can always make more later. All right, so we got a few votes for this one. So I'm just gonna move these others out of the way so they don't confuse me. And I am going to cut a piece just like I cut the cardstock. I'm gonna turn it sideways because our design goes this way. Luckily, the back side does not have a design that I have to worry about whether it's up or down. If you use something that has a directional design, just make sure you're watching those as you flip things before you do a lot of cuts. All right. It does definitely depend on who you're giving it to, Linda. All right. So because I need my design this way, I'm going to turn it because I'm going to cut this instead of at 5.5, which is where I cut this. I'm going to cut it at 5. I hope I did that at 5.5. Yes, 5.5. Woo. I'm going to cut this at 5.25. And that's going to build in my top and bottom borders, right? Because we usually cut that layer down a little bit. And then I'm going to take and get another piece that's 5.25 by 4 because I want another layer on the inside, right? So I'm just going to use one of these other scraps. All right. And then these other pieces we don't really need right now. Yeah, having the smaller designs is kind of fun. I think that'll be cool. And not a whole lot of this is going to show when we're at the front of the card. It'll show more on the inside of the card, but I also have an alternative for that if you don't like so much in your face. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to score this at 4 and 8, just like we did before. Try not to press too hard because you don't want to put holes in your designer series paper, right? I could bring out the arm. I could slide this over to 8. I'm just going to do a 180-degree turn, and I'm going to score this at 4 because it's easier for me. All right. So we've got our, basically our 8-inch score here. We've got our 4-inch score here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark that 3 inches here again, just like we did on the cardstock, right? And yes, I realize this is a 1/4 inch shorter, but wait for it. It'll make sense in a minute. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this back in here with this fold mark. And I'm actually going to, what do I want to do? I'm going to put a flag in here so it's just much more obvious for me where I need to slice, where I have to line it up. Hi, Linda Dickinson. Welcome. All right, so that's going to go in my track. And then the 3-inch is going to go, let me turn this sideways again so hopefully you can see better. I'm going to put my 8-inch score mark in the track. And I'm going to put that 3-inch mark in the track. And I'm going to have to move this down a little bit so I can push this in a little bit more. All right, 3 inches. The fold in the track, I think we're good. We'll adjust this just a little bit more because I think I shifted it. And we're going to slice this off. And I was even careful not to slice my arrow. All right, so now basically we kind of have exactly the same as our top piece, only it's shorter. So our borders are built in. Okay, see how that works? So I have my 1/8 inch border on the top and the 1/8 inch border on the bottom without having to cut that 3 or 4 different times. Okay. This piece I don't need right now. So I'm going to get it out of the way. Now, I am going to go ahead and now slice these into the 4-inch segments. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an 1/8 inch off of each side just to narrow them down. Okay. It might seem like more cutting this way, but I don't have to worry about my angles and measuring anything. The other thing that you can do is with your designer series paper, you could always put it up on, you could line it up with the cardstock and you could trace a line. That would work too. But then you still have to take it into the trimmer and cut it. All right. So the way that it was demonstrated to me in the past is to get your 4-inch strips, 3 of them, and then measure how far down this is here and make an angle cut here, and measure for this top piece how far down to here to measure this angle. Okay, and then you'd be cutting off this whole section here. And that to me just seemed like way easier for me to mess it up. So in my head, I'm thinking, let's work smarter, not harder. Oh, I'm glad you're feeling calm again. What are you drinking? My calm, soothing voice. I'm so glad. When I used to test students when I worked at the college full time. Hello, Stacy, May, Catitude Crafters. I think you are new to the channel, so welcome. Let us know where you're joining from. Chamomile tea, that's good for you. All right, probably better than alcohol. So anyway, you decide what you want to do. But for me, it worked to cut my designer series paper to 5 1/4 instead of 5 1/2, because then I automatically have my borders. And then I can cut, just making one mark at the 3-inch here, cutting that angle for my designer series paper, and then shazam, we have what we have. And that's why I wanted to try it out before I came live, because I wanted to make sure that it would work, right? All right. So here's the dilly with this. This piece is actually going to go over here, right? Because when we close it, we want it to look like this. All right. But this is where we have to do an 1/8 inch off of each side. All right. So you've seen me in somebody's something recently. I don't know. Oh, room. Okay, recently. Well, I'm glad. Welcome. Feel free to come back anytime. I'm usually on late at night. That's why I'm Late Night Lori. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut another piece here. And this one I am going to trace so you can kind of see how that works. So you need to make sure it's up at the top. And actually, I want it to be this way on the inside. So I'm going to make it here. And I'm going to go like this. We're going to cut this off, and then we'll cut off a 1/4 inch because we don't really have to. It doesn't matter. All right. So let's go ahead and slice this. This way just seemed easier for me to make mistakes. Because the more I have to measure, the more I'm going to mismeasure something, in my opinion. All right. Thanks, Linda. Are you leaving? So now you can see where, if this is down at the bottom, our angle is right on where it needs to be. Okay. This side, because I don't have to worry about the design or anything, or how my angle is going to fill up, I'm just going to go ahead and take a 1/4 inch off of here. And I could probably, and I'm just going to flip this like this so I've got the straight edge at the top. I'm going to take the 1/4 inch off of here. And can you tell I put a new blade in? So it's going a little smoother. So this piece is going to go here. All right, and I've got a nice even border. So you can see if I fold this back, You can see where we've got the nice border all the way around. So let's just go ahead and attach this right away so I don't mix up any pieces. Thanks for stopping in, Linda. Sleep well, my friend. All right. And if I attach these now, then I don't have to worry about messing up what piece I have where later on, because sometimes when I overthink things and I make it harder than it needs to be, then I have to recut things, right? All right, let's move this out of the way for now. All right, this piece can then go inside. Oh, I do still need my trimmer because I didn't trim these down yet. So here I could go ahead and just take a 1/4 inch off of one side. And I'm going to take it off of this side because that one's a little turned up. So that can go here. Make sure it's right side up so those so that the books are not hanging upside down from the ceiling, right? And because I've got the liquid glue, I can shift this a little bit because it's a little low. There we go. All right, and then this piece is going to go here. But before I do that, I need to cut a 1/4 inch off, of course. And again, I'm just flipping it over so that I've got a straight edge at the top. I don't want to have to try to hold this straight here, although, you know, if you're careful, you can, but usually my paper shifts. And I like to use that stop that's on here because that's why it's there. It helps keep your paper straight. And that's also why I trim from the bottom up, because then I'm pushing it toward where the stop is rather than going from the top down. And I know some people go from the top down, but they put their paper down on this edge. So it's just personal preference. All right, so this piece is going to go here. I do not want to attach this yet because I am bringing in this coordinating ribbon. And I don't know if I want to use this coordinating ribbon because this has more of a green, and I do not see green on this sheet. This is garden green and white. I don't know that I like that. Let's see if we could use this balmy blue. That doesn't look very studious though. Hi Yuda, welcome. So let's see what else we have. Oh, we could use some Secret Sea. That might be kind of cool. Nice contrast to the Cajun Craze, don't you think? And I want to be able to tie a bow. So this open weave trim is going to be kind of stiff for whoever I give it to for them to retie it. So I'm not going to use that. We could use some basic beige. That would probably work. I don't know if this is still current or not. I'm not sure if it's current or not. I could look it up. Sometimes with these ribbons I lose track. Yes, this is still current. This goes with the it might be the Beautiful Gallery. Yeah, it goes with the Beautiful Gallery suite. So we could use the Balmy Blue Sheer, the Secret Sea woven. Yeah, it doesn't really call it anything. It's just Secret Sea. Or we could use Basic Beige. Basic Beige, though, there's mostly white in here, so I'm not sure I'm not sure what you want to do. What do you think? Balmy, 1. Secret Sea, 2. Basic Beige, 3. And in the meantime, I'm going to cut this last piece down 1/4 inch. All right, Balmy Blue. We got a vote for Balmy. Linda calls Balmy. What else do we have? One for Balmy. And just remember there's a little bit of a delay. All right, we've got one for Secret Sea. There's a little bit of delay when I see your comments. And then Stacy, did you say where you were from? I missed it. I'm looking back on the comments here. It's just nice to know where everybody's chiming in from. We get Australia and New Zealand and Finland and Canada, all over the United States. So Bonnie, you like the Basic Beige? So far we got 1 vote for each. Stacy, you're in New York. Cool. I've been to New York. I prefer upstate New York over Manhattan. But I would rather drive in New York than I would rather drive in Chicago. I've driven in New York numerous times. My son was out in Manhattan for school for 4 years. So we got a couple votes for the dark one. So this is our Secret Sea. And now, funny thing, my son is in Chicago. That's where he lives now. So we're going to go with the Secret Sea just because I think it's going to give us a nice contrast. It doesn't mean we can't use these other colors for other versions. Upstate Central New York. My favorite places were, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but Schenectady, Luzerne, and I actually really enjoyed Albany too. The architecture there was pretty incredible. My son is a musician, so there was a music camp for him in between his junior and senior year in high school. All right, so I'm going to do about 20 inches of this ribbon. You might need more, you might need less, but I'm going to err on the side of generous. And then I can get rid of that. So what I want to do here with this one is instead of gluing this piece on the front, so here's where we're at right now. So instead of gluing this piece on the front, I want to put my ribbon around here. And I want to put it under this, I think. Because, well, I don't know, maybe we do want to put it on the front. Because we're going to use one of our, I don't know what we're going to use for the sentiment. Those are a touch east and south of you. All right. You're an hour and a half away from east of the Finger Lakes. All right. I think you spelled it right, Bonnie. Astoria and Long Island. Long Island is pretty cool too. I've driven there. I didn't stay there. I have to kind of look at my LOs for the places that I've not been. All right. So I don't know if I should put this under this layer or if I just should leave it over the layer. Because I kind of like that. And if we do, if we do another tag, like last night, we did this cute little tag on here. All right, Vicki, thanks for popping in. Take care. So we could do the little tags again. And in fact, I still have a leftover tag from yesterday that we can do as an accent piece. And I thought I did. I also have a Coastal Cabana piece or a Pretty in Pink piece. That might make a cool set of banners, hey? Or maybe we should use all three and just layer them. Let me get out my little Betsy. I'll just start, and I don't want to lose that. We're going to put that on a second here. So let's just cut a couple of these down. You're out too, Yuta. Thanks for popping in. And I'm going to go ahead and just cut these scraps at 3 inches. That'll be big enough. All right, let's find our die. Yeah, my son was out in New York for 4 years. He was actually in Manhattan, not far from Harlem, actually. He went to the Manhattan School of Music. And that was on 123rd. I think Harlem starts at 125th. So I enjoyed visiting. I enjoyed going to the different shows. That's where I saw, let's see, Phantom of the Opera I saw out there. I saw Morgan Freeman live out there. Of course, I went to see my son perform, but I got into Yankee Stadium too, the last year before they closed it down. And they called the game due to weather. But the other mom that was there and I, she was my son's girlfriend's mom, we snuck into the park. We were naughty. We snuck in, got a couple of souvenirs, got to see the park, and that was cool. All right, so we have, I'm going to just put that on my magnet. I'm going to get rid of this because I'm not going to use this screen. It just doesn't work for me for that paper. I think that's the right suite for it too. All right, so let's go ahead and put this piece on because that's going to go here. Now remember, I already cut off that 1/4 inch on there. So we can go ahead and glue this down. How you doing, Susan? Have you unwound? I had started saying that the students that I used to proctor their exams and their certification exams, it's stressful. But I would tell them, you know, I'm using my calm, soothing voice so that you do well on your tests. I think I could appreciate what they're going through because I have test anxiety too. I always second guess everything, and I do fine on my tests, but I think it's that OCD type A personality thing that gets me. All right, so we could do like this. And we could layer these tags on here. So this tag, depending on how we put it, oh, this would make a fun little pocket. I don't know. This is an idea for you gals that do journals. Well, thanks, Linda. I'm glad I don't have a grating voice. That would be bad. Of course, my husband might disagree with you guys. You're working on a junk journal for your friend and a beading thing. Oh, cool. Yeah, when I get to any kind of, I don't know, even the reels and stuff, if there's a voice on there that's grating, I just have to go right past it. So anyway, we could put this on here and we could kind of layer these. And make that a cluster together. Only one would have, probably only one would have a sentiment, or we could tie them all together and they could all have some kind of sentiment on there. So these could just kind of swing loose. But one of these, I figured if I put it on dimensionals, and I could even do the bigger tag, if we put it on dimensionals, then this ribbon could go right behind it, and that would kind of hold it in place and camouflage any glue dots. I just want to have a way to kind of hold that closed, you know, because otherwise it just kind of pops open. All right. So should we put it under with these or over? Because we could even put some of these kind of like so. Actually, I would probably want to do like this. We could attach this one right on here with the little sentiment and then put these on dimensionals. What do we think? I think we could use You're the Best again. The ribbon over the card, the DSP. I think so too, because I think it gives it a nice contrast. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece down then. Linda, you're the first comment I saw, so we're going with it. I use such a light layer of glue that I want to make sure that I have some of my edges covered. I just kind of smear it around so there's a thin layer. So if you have trouble with the green glue or the Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue, I usually tell people you're just using too much. And I haven't said that for a while, so that's why I'm adding it on now. All right, so I think I kind of like this one here. And I think if I stamp something on here, I'm going to put on Just Because. Let's see if that fits. And I want to use the little ones. So I'm thinking just, because will just fit. And you can see here I stamped on my, I took the backing off. I inked up my whole thing and I just stamped on a piece of typing paper, copier paper. And I'm just laying that inside so that I know if I'm missing a stamp with this new packaging. All right, so we've got Just Because. And I'm gonna get Secret C, I think. I was planning on doing Cajun Craze or Lost Lagoon, but I don't think that'll work so much with the Balmy Blue. So we're going to say Just Because. And usually I will take my ink to my stamp, but because these are smaller, I can see it better. So we're going to do Just Because. And yes, I did those crooked on purpose. And we're just going to go like this. Just Because. And I'm going to close this so I don't make a mess. I'll have to open it again, but I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals just on the top. So we've got some depth to this. And I'm going to curl it up just a little bit. And then we can put some glue on the bottom. And it'll look like it's in a pocket, but it's not. Okay. Now we can put some, We'll probably want to put some twine in those, right? Maybe this is linen thread. Got some gray, I've got some black. Maybe I'll just use black for those. I don't know. I'll leave this out. I'll decide later. All right, and then these I'm gonna put together, I think. I think we're just gonna glue those together, but we're gonna stamp just because you're the best. Now this stamp set, for whatever reason, I use Stays On. Don't ask me why. So my stamp's stained, but I don't really care. And it doesn't work really well when you do that on your glass mat, but I was being thoughtless at the time. Now this one's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp from the top. And I can see that it's covered pretty nicely. And that just fits. And I don't press super hard, although you can see you can see some of the blood going out of my fingers. I don't press super hard, I just like to let it sit there long enough. And that still didn't cover all the way, but I need to rank my stamp pad, I think. It looks a little rustic. I could try to do it again and line it up. In fact, let's do that just for kicks. Because it's photopolymer stamped, so it might work. I'll try to move it around here a little bit. Let's see if I can get it lined up. Let's see. That's pretty lined up. How about that? It's still a little light over here, but that might be the texture of the stamp. I don't know. All right, so let's go ahead and glue a little bit here. And I'm going to actually put those two loopholes together so that when I put twine on here, it'll be all right. Just because you're the best. We'll go around there somewhere. And then I'm going to use a couple of dimensionals on the edges maybe and glue it in the center. So it'll sink down in the center and it'll be up on the edges. Usually I use my take your pick tool, but we're going to wing it tonight. Well, hello, Apple. Welcome. Just because you're the best. And I'm just going to hold that down in the middle where the glue is and let that settle in. Oh, I needed to put the ribbon on there, didn't I? Well, let's just peel this apart a little bit. We'll kind of like floss it in here. It'll be fine. Nobody stop me. It's all good. So is this a Christmas thing, fall thing, summer thing? This is a crafting thing. This is actually a reader one. It's not a seasonal one. This is from the Hobby Haven Designer Series paper. All right, so there are some fun gems with this too. And I think we'll put a couple up here. And I think I want to use mostly the brown ones, the Cajun Craze. I think we'll use the dark brown ones. Just put those there. We might do more. If you think about it too much, then it's not where they need to sit, right? All right, so let's work on, I cannot attach it on the back, just so you know. Normally when we have ribbon going around, we'll attach it to the back of our card, but just remember that this is a fan fold, all right, or a Z fold rather. So you don't want it on your back, on the back of your card, because then when you open it up, it's going to pull stuff apart. You have those little heart things. Those are expensive. What heart things? I missed it. I'm not sure what you're talking about. All right, so let's move to the inside. Now for the piece that goes in here, I have this cut at 3 by 4 1/4. All right, I do not necessarily want to see that white piece peeking out here. So let me get my prototype here on this one. Basically what I did was the little stickers beside me, like this. This isn't a sticker. This is just an ephemera piece that came with the Designer Series paper. I don't see other hearts sitting here. These are some tulips. That's just a design that I printed off from Stampin' Up. So this is just an ephemera piece that came with the Designer Series paper. There's a sheet of ephemera cutouts. I wasn't sure if I would use this somewhere, like as a bookmark. If we were putting it in a journal and pulling it out, it would be fun. But this, I'm not going to do this as a journal. Maybe on another card, but not on this one. So here's my template here. So I've got 3 by 4 1/4. And the piece that I cut off, this piece here, I measured down 1 1/16 inch. So this is the one that I did do some measuring. Or you could also just come like this and do some tracing. As long as you're sure you're kind of straight, and as long as you didn't put lots of dimensionals on the front, you'll be good to go, right? But we could also just go like this. And either of these angles should work. So we're just going to wing it. And I'm going to do a light pencil mark there. And I'm going to bring my trimmer out one more time. And let's see how close to 1 1/16 inch I am. I'm at 1 and just under, I'm just barely over an inch. All right. So I think it'll work out all right. So again, we're just going to lay this in our track so that the top line is in the track and then our bottom line is in the track. If this would have been a piece of Designer Series paper, I would probably have started my blade partway through the paper and gone up and down, just so that I don't jam up the paper. Oh, and that was silly. I should have flipped this over. Now I just have to erase that. So hopefully it'll erase good. Either that or I'll just do another one. So note to yourselves, make sure you're putting your score on the opposite side so that you've got the right angle. And that's actually pretty good. I didn't write all that dark, so we're good. Perfect. Nobody will ever know. And when I write on there, they'll definitely not know. All right, so then this can go in here. So we don't want it to show. So I'm just going to gently set this over here. And just we'll make sure that we've got basically an equal border on the sides and the bottom. And then when that card closes, we won't be able to see that sentiment piece. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so let's do a piece of baker's twine. I'll just get a little length of white. I'll do a couple of them. So I think we'll do, is this called a lark's head, where you fold it in half and you put the feet through the loop? I don't know if that's a lark's head or not. I got uneven, so let me just try to fix that a little bit. And we'll just trim it, I guess. Then I don't have to fight with it too much. And then we'll put one of the, actually I think this is Coastal Cabana, not Balmy Blue. I think I called it Balmy Blue earlier. I think we could probably call this an angled Z-fold. I don't know what it's really called. I don't know what other demonstrators have called it. That might be what it's called. I don't know. And I think we'll just leave those kind of loose. I wonder if we can curl them at all. And see if they'll comply. Maybe a little glue dot on there might help. I'll just roll it up like a little burrito. And then we'll just put it right on the edge here, long ways. I'll just push that right into there. There, that looks pretty cool. And then this will just get tied. You know, you could even do it without the ribbon, I suppose. Because the card itself is being pretty compliant. I just thought the bow kind of added a little something to it. So there's our card. Pretty easy when you do it kind of methodically instead of trying to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different angles. We did those 2 angles all at once. So if you missed the beginning, go ahead and watch the replay. I will make this live tomorrow night before I go live again. So this is live right now, but then it goes into private. And then YouTube does their little analyze whatever. I think I'm going to put a couple more little gems on here. I think it needs just a little something more. Put a couple down here. Now this would be fun, even as just a regular card. You could still do the Z fold, but instead of having it be a Z fold, you could attach this along the side and the bottom, and then you would have a real pocket in here, and you could put like a bookmark. You could put a gift card to a bookstore. You could put a bunch of things in there. So there we go. Pretty simple. This is just a little crooked, it seems to me, but I glued it instead of just using a simple little glue dot for temporary. So we could also put another piece in here if you wanted more places to write, or if you wanted to write here or put a sentiment here and then right here. That would work too. Let's, if I want to make it go this way, I'm going to go like this. Let's just try that and see how it looks. Thank you, Linda. There. So that could easily go there. And then you've still got the nice borders. We might want to take just a smidge off of here to make it more in line with the other side. But then you could put your sentiment here and a message here, or vice versa. I'm just going to cut off this little rough spot here that didn't cut very well. So really it's I think a pretty easy card. But I think whoever you gave it to would be kind of impressed. So let's just do a glue dot on this for now. Oh, this package is about done, it looks like. Sure enough. Good thing I have another one, because I have my very own store. It's awesome. All right, so let's just put this on here, because that way if I want to take it out, you can remind me that I only used a glue dot for it. All right, there we go. I kind of like the idea of turning this into a pocket card. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow if I have time. We'll see. Juju, you remember the other night? Was that last night, the night before? I don't even remember. I forgot I had used just a glue dot to temporarily adhere something so that I could take it off to put sentiments on it, and then I was stamping with it in the card, and Yuta reminded me that I had only put temporary adhesive on it. So, silly me. Who's going to try this card? Anybody? See, a lot of times these, Yolinda, you remember, huh? The blue tag. I do like that. It just kind of brings out some more of the colors. And I think that would be fun, though, if it was like a bookmark. So, Linda, does a thumbs up mean that you're going to try to make this card? And you can make it awesome. Susan, you're going to try it. That's great. I love it. So Linda, you've done it before. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, it's not a new fun fold. It's been around for quite a long time. I was just kind of reminded of it the other day. So I thought, let's give it a whirl. But this could work with so many different papers, you know. And this might be a little bit busy behind there, but I think just because it's a splatter, it works. I think it works all right. So that'll be in like that. And I might want to write on both. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to try the pocket thingy also. All right, so that is all I have for tonight, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for collaborating for colors and our designer series paper. Juju picked out the base color of Cajun Craze last night. I don't know if she was just gigging me or if she really wanted to see that color, but she knows I like Cajun Craze, so there we go. That's pretty compliant for a bow. But then I'll put some designer series paper on our envelope. And this will fit very nicely in there. Now, I've mentioned before, now if I've got a tail from a bow, I just nicely fold it inside so it doesn't get all crinkled. It was a time, I know, I have been neglecting Cajun Craze. Oh, and it was Salah's birthday Friday. I don't know if anybody wished her happy birthday. I did. I sent her just a little happy birthday message. So next time you see Salah, wish her a happy birthday, even if it is belated. So anyway, when I have cards like this, especially with the bow, if I put a layer of the designer series paper on here, it helps pad. But like where my embellishments are, a lot of times they can poke through your card. So I will take like a layer of this and I will emboss it with some design that I like. And I will put that inside my card. If the person who's receiving the card from me is a crafter, they can take this and put it onto another card. So it usually doesn't go to waste because I have had people comment to me, oh, I got that and I used this on a card. So I like to pass along the work. Sometimes, you know, pass along what work I've done so it makes it easier for somebody else. Sometimes what I also do sometimes is I have a little card and it looks like I have to make some more that I basically insert where I have not signed the card that just says, you know, I'm sending this off to you, blank, whatever, there's a poem, so that all they have to do is when they have to send need a card to send, they can just sign it and send it on its way. So they get the joy of receiving it and then they can pass it along to somebody also. So that's all I have tonight, ladies. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate the company, the collaboration, and I think we made a really cute card. And I don't know what we'll do tomorrow, but I'm only at the college during the day tomorrow, so I'll have my evening. And we don't have our granddaughter this weekend. We kind of switched up weekends. Normally she's with us, so it should be kind of a quiet weekend. We'll see. Thank you for all the hearts. I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up on your way out. Share the video. Like the video, all that stuff. I appreciate it. Until next time, happy crafting.